Assalamualaikum and welcome back to Coding with T. Today we are going to learn how to create tab bar views and brand showcase and each category products or you can say specific products related to each category. So first of all, let's quickly see what we're going to create. So our application is running. You can see we are currently in the dark mode and we have already created this home screen. This design is completed. All the categories, banners, and the products design is completed. Now head back to store. In the previous tutorial, we learn how to create a custom mapper when we created this search container and the list of brands using view all button. But in today's tutorial, you can see when we're going to start moving the categories at the top, you can see it's going to stick at the top, not going above or on top of this app bar, but they are stick. And down below, related to each category, we have the name of the brand and top products, or you can see top three products of the brand. In this category, we have top two brands, and down below, you can see we have the four specific products related to the sports category. When we go to the furniture, you can see we have the different two brands with the different products, and then we have again a different furniture. You can scroll to electronics. In this, we have Apple, Acer, and again, we have specific products related to that. We can also scroll to the cloth section. In this, we have only one brand, but still we have three products. So this is what we are going to create in today's tutorial. The breakdown of today's tutorial is going to be very simple and very useful because first of all, we will learn how to create this type of scrolling tab bars. Once created, we will make sure that they should pin at the top. After that, we will learn how to create this type of showcase for each brand. And after that, use the products grid to display products for each specific category. So without wasting time, let's get started. We are creating Flutter e-commerce application and we are in the section 3. In section 1, we have already covered the basics or setup of this folder structure, constants, utilities. If you are new, you can watch you can get the complete playlist link down below in the description or from the right top corner. Also, the playlists are divided for each separate section. In the second section, we have completed the login, sign up design with the forget password, remember me, etc. So once again, if you're new, you can watch the previous videos and we are in the section 3 and today's video is about to complete the store section. So let's get started. Open Dot Studio and we are in the home dot which is the first screen we have already completed, and this is the store dot which we created in the previous tutorial. You can see I've also mentioned the tutorial over here. Seventh video of section 3, we created nested scroll view, custom app bar, and we have also designed search bar, featured brands, and the grid of custom brand design. But for today's tutorial over here, inside the same sliver app bar, right below this flexible space, we are going to design our list of tabs first, and then as a body of this container, right next to this header sliver, inside the nested scroll view, we will display all the tab views, and in the tab we are going to create the tab bars itself. So first of all, let's create the tabs. To create tabs that are going to be fixed when we are going to scroll at the top, we are going to use the bottom property, and when you hover over this bottom property, it requires a preferred size widget, same as the app bar. At the top, you can see when we hover over this app bar, it also requires a preferred size. So that's why we created the custom app bar in the previous tutorial using the implements as preferred size. So for today's tutorial, over here at the bottom, we're going to create the tab bar, and list of tabs is a required attribute of this tab bar. So when you hover over these tabs, you see we have to provide the list of widgets, which are the tabs. So let's create a list over here. As a child, we are going to only create a tab. Tab has a child property, and let's create text as a heading of each tab. Let's say we have, sorry, not this one, sports. Okay, Control Alt L to align the code, add a constant, and down below, let's create 4 to 5 tabs. So I've created 5 tabs: sport, furniture, electronics. You can name it anything, Control Alt L. Next, in this same tab bar, we can add few more properties. Let's say is scrollable. This scrollable is in the horizontal direction. Yes, this is going to be scrollable. Then we have indicator color property. We can also change indicator as well. Indicator is the one at the bottom which is highlighted. So let's give the primary color to indicator color. We can also change the label color, which is basically a text color. So it again depends on the light and dark mode. So let's use t helper functions dot is dark mode. It is going to return true or false based on the dark mode. And let me show you this one as well. It's a simple brightness is equal to dark mode, then it is return boolean as true. So if it is dark, show the white color, else show the primary color. Remove the constant. And also the last property, which is unselected color. When the label is not selected, this will be the darker gray color. Okay, let's run the application. Okay, so our application is running. Let's go to login, click sign in. In the store, you can see we have an error which is no tab controller for tab bar when creating tab bar. This means that it's also written you must either provide an explicit tab controller using the controller property, or you must ensure that there is a default tab controller. So to use the tab bar or the tab bar view, we have to use default tab controller. So let's head at the top. We have to wrap the complete design, also the scaffold, the widget, which is default tab controller, and inside this default tab controller we have to provide the length which is required. This length should be the number of tab bars that we are going to create. So let's say we have 5 tab bars. Okay, let's run the application. Okay, so our application is running. Let's go to the login screen, click on the sign in, and you can see we have already created this home part. And now this time go to store, and the upper portion was already created in the previous tutorial, but today we have created this thing, and you can see our tab bar is also scrollable. Down below, we are going to design our application, but when we scroll up at the top, you can see it stick to the top, and now when we are going to scroll it back, it's right where we want it. There is one issue with this tab bar. When we are moving this at the top, you can see the fonts and the background is very much visible. So how we can override this issue? When you hover over this tab bar, you cannot find something like a background color. So how we can add a background color? We can also not wrap this tab bar directly with some other container or some other widget, so that we can create background color of this tab bar. So what we can do with is a preferred size. If you already watched the app bar tutorial, the custom app bar tutorial, you already know this. We have to create a separate widget in which we will use the preferred size widget. So let's do that. Let's go to the common folder widgets, and in the app bar we have to create another thing which is tab bar over here, because both are the preferred size. So I've created a tab bar and also added a comment over here, because the reason to use preferred size widget. So to create a custom tab bar, those who are new, let me remove this, and you can see when we are going to implement this with a preferred size, it is giving an error because we have to override one missing function, or you can say the feature. And for the preferred size widget, we are going to use size dot from height, and this is the height of app bar height. When you hover over this, you can go to the K toolbar height which is used. You can directly use the K toolbar height, and at the top we have that simple tab bar we created previously, but over here you can see instead of giving the tabs as hard coded, I have created a list of widgets over here, because when you hover over this tab, they required list of tabs. They cannot be nullable. So we have created the same over here and pass those in the constructor. Now head back to store.dart, and in here we can simply pass all these tabs. So let's split it. Instead of this tab bar, we can use tab bar, and in that we have a list of tabs that we have to provide. So paste the tabs we created, add a constant. Let's save this, and you can see we have our new design, but you can also see the background is now applied once the tab bar created. Down below in the body, instead of the container, because this was just a dummy container, we have to replace this body with a tab bar view. It also required list of children's. These list of children will be the body of these tab bars. So we have 5 tab bars. This means that we need to create 5 tab bar views, each view for each tab bar. So let's first design the first tab bar. Inside the children's, first of all, the tab bar will contain the padding from the sides. So first add padding over here. After this padding, because we have to create list of variables in a vertical direction, first brands and then products. As a child property of padding, use the column, and in the column we have list of children's. The first children is brands, second one is the products. There can be any type of products, but first let's create brands. So because we need a borders, that's why we are going to use the rounded container which we have already created. Let me show you this one. This is the rounded container. Some properties are defined which are predefined. Now let's go back. Inside this container we need 4 things. First one is to show the border. Then as a border color we are going to use this dark gray, and as a background color we will make this background as a transparent of this container, and as a margin we will only use the bottom margin, because let's say we have 2 brands or 3 brands. Next, as a child, we again want to use the column. Inside each brand, we want to show first one, the brand itself, and then we will have a list of images. So for the brand, we will going to use the same we created at the top in the previous tutorial, which is the brand card. You see, we have already designed this container, which will have icon and we shall have two texts. This is already designed. Let's go back. Children of the column, first one is brand with products count. We'll use the T brand card we created in the previous tutorial, which is this one. It has a gesture detector, so we can tap on this specific brand also to view its profile maybe or the details of that brand. That brand could be the shop in case of multi-vendor application. So we will use the show border to true this time. Previously it was false. Let's save the code and you can see we have one single brand currently created inside this container, which is a rounded container. So we have to make this border to false because we already have border defined of this container. So currently we have one brand defined. Next we want to show all the images of that specific brand. So images are inside the row because they are in the horizontal direction. So we will use a row as a children. We want to place equally size three images. So that's why we will first use a rounded container to add image, T rounded container. Height of this container will be 100. Background will be based on the dark mode. If it's dark mode, use the darker gray, otherwise the light color. Then we are also going to add margin to the right side because each image will be placed on the right side. You can also loop through each of them, and let's say when we are going to reach to the last one, you cannot add the right side margin. That's the optional thing. Now let's add image, which is the asset image, and in here I've added image with a fit property as contain, and the image will be the asset image. The image we already created is used over here. Add a constant. Let's save it. And you can see we have only one image appearing. We don't have padding of this one. So let's also add the padding. Let's save it. And now you can see we have one box, which is a padding. And also there's a reason to not add a width property. So the reason will be explored in few minutes. So containers created. Let's say we need three containers in this design. So three images created, but we are going to wrap this with the equal size, which are going to utilize the equal size, which you can say it is an adaptive design for different type of device sizes. For that, we have to wrap this row with a widget, which is expanded widget, which is going to require the equal size for all of three. When we are going to use it on the first one, you can see it's taking the maximum space. So let's wrap it on all three. Okay, I've added all of three. Let's save it. And now you can see they are taking equal space. Now the last thing, which is to add padding around this rounded container. Padding is medium. Let's save it. And our brand promo card, or you can see a showcase of the brand, is ready. Now we are going to extract this, refactor, extract for a widget. I'm going to name it T brand showcase. It's extracted. Now inside, because we are going to use this one single brand for different categories, and also each category will have two to three brands. So that's why we are not going to keep the image static. We will also replace the text of each brand and we will pass the brand model, but we will do that in the backend tutorial. But for now, let's add this images and get the images from where this brand showcase is being called. It is a list of string called in the constructor. So what we can do, we cannot use the list of images over here like add 0, 1, 2, 3. So why not make the code more cleaner? Okay, down below you can see I have created a function. So this function is outside of this build method. This is the build method at the top, and it is outside this build method, which is again a function. It is returning a widget. So it is going to require an image and also the context to appear for the light and dark mode. So now we are going to replace all these childrens with a single line. Okay, next to this children, because we will have list of images, so we will use images dot map property to map anything we want. It requires a widget, so we will return a widget using the function we created, which is brand top image product. This is the function which is going to return a widget, and children also requires list of widgets. So as an image, this E is the image which will be the single image among all these images. So it will be gone over here and the context will be passed at the end. To make it list, we will wrap it with a list. So to list will return a list of children's over here. Control Alt L to align. Okay, now we have a separate function and we reduce our code into one single function. We can extract it. go to the brands where we created previous brand card. We will create a new class, brand showcase.dart, paste our code and add all the required libraries. Okay, once done, go to store.dart and import this library. And in here you can see now it requires list of images. So I passed 3 images. Okay, now let's save the code and nothing being changed. Let's go to, and we have an error which is controllers length property 5 does not match with the number of children 1. So this means that in the tab bar view, we only have a one children, which is not going to work because at the top we have 5 tab bars. So for that, in the tab bar view, we should have 5 childrens. So currently, let me copy this 5 times, which is really a bad approach, just to see the design. Let's save it. So it's saved. We have list of all the tab bar views, but we cannot update the image. Let's go over here. We use the images. We pass the same image to this one, and we forget to add image down below over here. So we will replace this asset with the image, remove this constant, and now this time let's save it. And you can see now we have 3 separate images, or 3 different images. Okay, the brand showcase is also completed. Let's close it. Go to store.dart. Let me for now, let's delete this as well. Let's also extract this padding from here because we want to paste this code not in the store.dart, but to keep it as minimal as we can. We will keep it into a separate widget, which is an empty class category tab created over here. So inside this class, instead of the scaffold, let's paste the padding, remove the constant, import this library. Okay, now we have the brands created. Let's create the products, and also over here, let's call the category tab 5 times. Let's add a constant, Control Alt L. So that's it for the store.dart. Add back to the products. In here, add the heading, which is a T section heading we created earlier for the throughout our project. So I'm going to use the same over here. Title will be you might like products, and also show action, because by default it's true. Show action button is true, and on press is going to be this one. Then we need to add some space. We also need to add space in the brand showcase. Right after this brand card, add some space. Now it's looking good, and also our heading is now visible. And to display the products, which will this time going to be 4 products, we have first have to use the T grid layout, and let's pass the 4 item count as an item builder. Context is not needed. Use the index property, and in here as a child, as an individual product, we have also created product card vertical design. Currently we're not passing anything, but definitely we will pass individual product. So let's save it, and you can see we have created 4 products. Okay, first let's add the space after this brands between products and brands. Let's save it. Space is added. Now for the grid layout, we cannot make it scrollable because we have all the products inside the padding. We don't have anything which can be scrolled. We can only scroll the tab bar view, but it cannot go beyond this point. So this is the maximum size. So to overcome this issue, we have to wrap this padding with a list view, not a column or not a single child scroll view. We will use the list view. Inside the list view, we will make the shrink wrap to true, to only use the available space. And then to stop this scrollable effect, we will use the never scrollable scroll physics because we already using nested scroll view. So let's add a constant. Also for a little space at the bottom, I use the sized box. Let's save it, and you can see error is gone. Now we can easily use the nested scroll view effect, and we can scroll as much as we want, and we can also add as many items down below on the stream, and it will not throw any error. At the top for this specific category or any specific category, let's say we have 2 brands. When you're going to save this, you can see we will have 2 brands for each category over here, and all the categories will have a different type of products. Also view all will take to the products of that specific category. These brands are also clickable. So that's it for today's tutorial. When you go to the store.dart, in here in the future, in the using the backend, we will definitely create the models and try to map each category with their own data. So that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any question, you can ask me down below in the comment. And also if you have any confusion, you can ask me in the comments. You can download the complete code. Link is in the description. And if you learn something new, please like the video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for all the upcoming videos. Once again, thank you for watching. Take care. Allah Hafiz.